he could decode his dreams. If there was snow, this meant that something was very imminent. If there were cups, this meant that certain victims. And he got very good at deciphering them.
As I watched these two dogs run through the park, they became human beings. One man and one woman. They then walked along the high street, and one of them was carrying a padded envelope. As the dogs came through the park, obviously that's cryptic, I was seeing the actual scene that was going to take place, and the two people, the man and the woman, had come along the high street and placed the bomb, which was in a padded envelope, through the letterbox of the bank that was there. At which point it blew up, they blew to pieces, and I woke up from the dream.
Now I do understand that he then told a sergeant at Luton police station, someone he knew, about the events, and it happened the next day.
And basically from the dream information I decided that one man, one woman, both terrorists were going to blow up a bank in St Albans on a Friday night. Arrangements were made that I would be at home that Friday night in case it happened. And about 10:10 I got a telephone call from Sergeant Clements saying all hell's broken loose in St Albans, we need you over here. And of course when I got over there was a cordon round the town, and I was trying to explain to these two policemen at the cordon that I was a psychic and they wanted to see me, and he said, I'm Father Christmas, get on the bike and sort of get out of here. Eventually I managed to get them to radio in and say I was there, at which point of course they took me in, and I had meetings with some police and military people in St Albans that night.
At St Albans, as the bomb was being primed, it went off, killing both terrorists instantly. The bombers were the only casualties.
They said it wasn't a bank, it was a car bomb. I said, what do you mean it was a car bomb? I said, of course it wasn't a car bomb, it was a bank. I said, they put the bomb through the letterbox. No, that bit you're wrong about. Eventually they said, all right, we were just testing. We wanted to see how convinced you were that it wasn't a car bomb. They took me up to the scene, and I walked around the town like a sniffer dog. But it was an unholy mess, really. There were bits of people in the trees and scattered around everywhere. The bank front had been completely blown out. There were broken windows everywhere.
This was so very specific. It's not as if it's vague. He's decoded this perfectly. There was an explosion by two banks. There would be two bombers. They would both die. I don't see how more accurate that could get, to be honest. Premonitions, they've been around for as long as human writing has been there. The ancient Assyrians, Babylonians, Egyptians all spoke about premonition dreams. They were well recorded.
Well, I mean, stories of precognition certainly go back to the times of the Old Testament. They were always prophesying things.
In the Bible, of course, there's the story of Joseph who interpreted the dream of the Pharaoh about the 7 fat and thin cattle, indicating 7 good years and then bad years. Again, it's symbolism, just as Chris Robinson is having. It needs to be decoded.
The question is often raised, why is this information so convoluted, so cryptic, often symbolic, and so on? And I think there are multiple reasons that one should look for. Number one, dreams typically are of that sort. And so if you're going to be getting information during dreams, the dream process is going to color the information you're getting.
And oftentimes these precognitive elements come in symbolic form. They might not be exact sort of replicas of what's actually going to happen, but they're close enough to indicate that there's actually something taking place.
The language of dreams, the language of these altered states, is not the rational, logical language that we tend to use in our waking awareness. It's the language of geometries. It's the language of symbols.
The second reason is that if this information is actually intelligently given, so it's not just that Christopher is going into some library in the sky and just pulling information out of a book or playing back a tape, but if this information is actually being presented to him, then there's going to be some intelligence in terms of what information is given and how it's given.
The week before Princess Diana was killed, a reporter called Claire Pillinger had phoned me up and asked if she could come and see me, and she specifically wanted me to try and dream about Princess Diana.
But he was adamant that it was two very important people that were going to die.
Chris Robinson's state at this point would be almost tortured.